I have always loved mysteries. For instance, I really like cats. I think in part because they are mysterious. They're hard to figure. Well, the market is another one. The vast differences of personalities and expectations and strategies, types of investors, and all the impacts from different kinds of things that are happening in the world or that are happening in a specific industry are happening in the zeitgeist of the moment, all impacting what happens every single day on the market. It's fascinating and mysterious. So, did the FOMO about 1010 already have its day? Will we continue to be sideways into tomorrow? Or will the folks that are expecting a historic day pile in at the last minute? Well, stay tuned because after falling back early this morning, Tesla is on a tear as I got ready to start this morning. We'll see in about 20 minutes whether that tear continued to take it into green territory because it was very nearly green when I last checked. So with the news this morning, first of all, AJ provided a compilation of analysts' expectations for the quarter three earnings. Here we are leapfrogging into the quarter three earnings when tomorrow is the big day. But anyway, those estimates, that compilation came in at 60 cents, which is 20% higher than his 50-cent estimate. So that's interesting. And he, of course, was concerned that if he's right, that would be a big miss if the analysts are at 60 cents and Tesla comes in at 50, and he would be right about that. Whole Mars blog, Omar over there, he comes in this morning, he says 12, version 12.5.4.1 is sublime. So that would be the ones for all the vehicles other than the Cybertruck. 12.5.6 still needs a bit of sanding off of some of the rough edges. So I thought that was interesting updates on both of those going into tomorrow, because of course people are thinking that maybe by tomorrow night there's going to be some announcements with regard to where we really are on FSD, and maybe there are, my speculation, of course, I'm the optimist, is that maybe they're already testing vehicles that they believe are ready to go. I mean, maybe they've got, their drivers, which are always testing ahead. They're always on a version 1 or 2 or 3 further along than we're getting. And maybe they're testing versions that are very, very excellent. Rains, which we've been starting to quote more, Rains, Raines 1220 on X says, I am now 100% sure 1010 is not just about showing a few slides. This will be in the history books. Well, then Ellie-Ann, Eli_ANNN. So if you want to find her, you got to get that one right. She says, why are you so sure? And Rains responds, he says, I'm not supposed to explain. That's exactly why I'm so sure. All right, there's a little bit more mystery for you there. Yeah, okay. The limiting comes in this morning. He says, listen to this one. He says, I'm glad to see that they've had time to polish up FSD by squashing software bugs. It may just be coincidence, but I'd like to see this is because they're getting close to the end game. In other words, the big things are being solved, so now they can go in for some of the smaller issues that may not be such a big deal in general. And so what are we talking about here? Well, a 4-year-old bug is fixed, according to 𝐬𝐤𝐚𝐲. Whole Mars catalog says about this, he says FSD 12.5.6 visualizations on the screen are so smooth. Surrounding cars don't jitter at all anymore, and it seems to be steady 60 FPS. Ashok Eliswami comes in, he says, because we fixed a 4-year-old bug in the rendering. And Andre Karpathy says, oh my God. And Ashok comes back and says, yeah. So take from all of this what you will. I'm just reporting what I'm seeing. I just try to find the things that are interesting each morning. Well, this is from Barron's this morning. The electric vehicle maker on Tuesday evening announced 0% financing deals on qualified Model 3 and Model Y purchases. And that can save car buyers roughly $100 a month, or about $8,000 over the life of a 60-month car loan. Well, of course, if it's saving the owner $6,000, then it's costing Tesla something, whether that's 4,000 or 5, depending on their deal that they've got with various banks, or whether they're doing it internally. But one way or the other, it has to have an expense associated with. Now, most of their 0% financing deals have been in shorter terms. So this one is, though, a 60-month car loan. And you're like, wow, they're giving away the store. Oh, well, there's a catch, according to the Barron's article. And that is that the current offer, there's a catch on the current offer that complicates matters. Buyers have to purchase Tesla's highest level driver assistance software called, full self-driving for $8,000. So Tesla is essentially subsidizing the price of FSD. So if they get a higher, obviously every single one of these deals that they do, where it's going to cost them money for to buy down the interest rate, they're going to be getting the full $8,000 on FSD. So that sounds like a pretty smart deal to me, and especially going into robotaxi day tomorrow. Okay, the second highest month this year, Tesla China sales, 88,321 cars in September. That's up 19.2% year over year. You realize that is way more than 1 million cars per year. Okay, that would be 1,000,006. 1,000,007. I didn't do the exact math, but I'm doing it in my head right now. About 1,000,007, 1,007,000 cars. I'm sorry, is that right? 1,070,000. 1,070,000 cars on a run rate if you did 88,000 every single month, and maybe they can do even more. From Reuters this morning, sales of U.S. automaker Tesla China-made electric vehicles rose 19.2% in September from a year earlier, according to data from CPCA. Deliveries of China-made Model 3 and Model Y vehicles were up 1.9% from the previous month. Colin Rugg says this: a CNN panel admits they messed up and drove Elon Musk away from the Democratic Party, saying they should have respected his contributions to the world. The panel blasted the Biden administration for purposely excluding Musk from events. I think where the Democrats started to lose Elon was actually personal. We should have celebrated his contributions to electric vehicles. We should have said, look, Starlink's a great product that needs to be used. We should have celebrated the fact that it had the first commercial success of private people in space. I got a call from him when he wasn't invited to the EV summit. He should have been invited. I called the White House. I never called the White House. And I'm like, why didn't you invite him? He's very angry. Unfortunately, I have to tell Mr. Rugg that it wasn't really about not being invited. It was about freedom of speech. It was about censorship of social media. It was about other issues in terms of peace and war, and seeing, as he said 3 or 4 years ago, seeing his Democratic Party, the party that he was a part of, slipping away in terms of the things that they believed in, like helping out the middle class, like helping out the folks, really actually helping people that are in need, as opposed to just throwing money at them, et cetera, et cetera. I don't want to go into a big political thing here. Okay, so this is Randy Kirk. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit notify. Okay, what's going to happen today? Today we will have a CERN Basher video on Wednesday instead of Thursday. That's all ready to go. That'll come. I'm going to prepare a video right after this one that will be for this evening. I will be at the Los Angeles Zoo with my family. I might take a break away from that effort and come and do a 15 or 20-minute video to summarize the day. I might not. So I don't know what's going to happen. But Jeff Lutz, almost 100% sure Jeff Lutz is not going to be joining me tonight. Tomorrow, on the day of the event, I will be running around town all day. I've got some plans for morning will be normal. I'm sure I'll come up with something for the middle of the day. And then the evening, I'm supposed to be meeting in person with Bradford Ferguson. We're supposed to meet up at our normal time around 4 o'clock California and shoot a video live in person. So that's what's supposed to happen over the next 2 days. And of course, after the event, I haven't decided what to do. Kind of, I guess, depending on the after parties or the viewing parties that I find, I might decide to actually shoot some kind of video after the show. I am not sure. We'll see what happens. That's a rough estimate of what's going to happen over the next 24 hours. All right. 𝐐𝐲𝐽𝐻 has this morning. All right. This is important. I don't know why I'm so focused on this, but he is also, and I just think it's critical. I think it's critical in terms of the nature of the political season that we're in, but I think it's critical in terms of we as investors and the information that the government is or is not giving us that we're depending on to make some of our decisions here. So I'm gonna keep going with this. 𝐐𝐲𝐽𝐻 says something does not add up here. The payroll survey response rate was only 62% in September. That is the lowest level in at least 14 years. By comparison, in 2023, the response rate averaged 68%, while the 2010s average was 77%. So why in this age of immediate information is this response rate getting lower and lower and lower? It makes no sense. He says this means last month's data was largely incomplete and we should expect material revisions over the next 2 months. The 254,000 September payroll creation number is likely overestimated, given most of the job numbers have been revised downward over the last 2 years, except for this month. He doesn't even point that out, which had upward revisions, which makes no sense as well. This year alone, non-farm payroll employment has been revised down by 293,000 jobs. We expect major revisions ahead. Now, he adds to his report. That was yesterday afternoon. He adds to his report this morning. It gets worse. He says, what is happening with U.S. government jobs data? The September jobs report showed the economy created 785,000 new government jobs. That would be the second largest monthly increase on record. 785,000 new government jobs. Government jobs also accounted for a whopping 85% increase in total payrolls in the household survey. So this would be the survey where you determine, whether it's 4.1, 4.2, et cetera, et cetera. He says, in effect, the number of government workers hit a new all-time high of 22.2 million. This helped push the unemployment rate down to 4.1, where it had been 4.2. Without the government jobs, the unemployment rate would have been as high as 4.5. Now, what he doesn't say, and he should have said, is that if the government job increase had been more like normal, the unemployment rate might have stayed at 4.2, might have been at 4.3, might have been 4.4, but it wouldn't have dropped to 4.1. Something really doesn't add up here. He repeats again and again and again, and I agree with him. Speaking of things that are not adding up, well, this adds up. Okay, people talk about the commodities being very, very low, but they're not that low, and they are trending up. I started talking about this about a month ago, that with commodities being as low as they were, that as we look ahead in terms of inflation, what do we have to worry about? Well, when something is super, super low, you have to believe that there's going to be, bargain hunters coming in and starting to take advantage of that. In addition, you might have some of the people might have taken stuff offline. You'll extract less of zinc, okay, because you can't get the price you want, et cetera. And so those kinds of things are impacting that low price of commodities. So they pretty much only have one direction to go, which is up, which is going to impact inflation. So here's what 𝐤𝐴𝐚𝐲𝐿𝐿 says. 𝐤𝐴𝐚𝐲𝐿𝐿. Okay. This is now I'm not going to, well, maybe I will read all of these. It won't take a second. Sunflower oil over the last 30 days, sunflower oil up 30%, natural gas up 25%, propane up 25%, iron ore up 23%. We've been reporting on that. Sugar up 20%, beef up 19%, rubber up 16%, steel up 15%, oats up 14%, palm oil up 13%, zinc up 13%, naphtha up 12%, nickel up 12%, tin up 10%, and aluminum up 9%. That is an indication of, your basic commodities starting to move up again. Now, oil has been moving down, which is as we know, a major impact across all markets. And so it's important to note that oil is going down. But the last couple of weeks, oil has been going up again. We'll talk about oil more in a minute when we look at the oil number. Okay, this is just in. Listen to this now. I know this is political, 100% political. I'm sorry, but I think you need to hear it. This is from Behezy Tweets, and I watched, actually listened to Adam Schiff saying this. I'm not going to give you the specific quotes too long. Adam Schiff just said that he wants to abolish the Senate filibuster. He very definitely said that so that they can pack the Supreme Court. And he said specifically, he says, well, it's already just been packed. Well, it wasn't packed. It was just the normal politics. He wants to pack it. He wants to add 4 new positions so that they can restore nationwide abortion, restrict gun rights, and grant citizenships to millions of illegals. That is exactly what he just said. Saying it out loud. Okay, if that's the government you want, if you want to Californize the rest of the United States, go ahead. That's the way you should vote. Adam Schiff is probably going to win in California because that is how the folks in California think. All right, let's go ahead and look at where the markets are right now. We have got, we've been looking at that Tesla, which was taking off last time I looked, continuing to take off. It has gone into the green now. It's gone up about 5 over that 20 minutes, 25 minutes roughly. It has gone up about 5. So it's at $1.62 in the positive now and still continuing to go up. So we're at 246. Can we get to 265 by tomorrow? Of course we can. All we got to do is go up another 8 today and another 10 tomorrow. No problem. Dow Jones up 112 right now. NASDAQ up 41. Those are both well, I'm sorry. The NASDAQ is recovering and moving into green. The Dow had, it's actually up. It had been red as well because they were both going different directions at one point. S&P up 10 at this point. You've got the Magnificent 7 mixed with, just Meta and Google down a bit. Meta down strongly, 566, a full percent, but it's also recovering. NVIDIA only up $1. So still kind of a mixed market overall. The Cathie Woods all up except for ARCG. Square's down a tad. So kind of a little still mixed, but tending towards the green. We've got the Dow up 0.24%, NASDAQ up 0.24%, S&P up 0.20%, and Tesla up almost a full percent, 0.89, $2.16 now. Doing okay. We'll see. Got 8 to go to hit my number for today. We'll see. We'll see if that happens. Could happen. It's not that hard. 10 bucks is not difficult for Tesla. All right, let's go ahead and look at the bonds continuing. Now, they did fall off a little bit yesterday, but still, we're at 4.037 on the 10-year. That's up so right now it's only 0.2%, was more. So it's starting to, the yield is starting to come down a little bit, but we're still, again, 4.037. That is a crazy number. I never thought that this would happen. The 2-year up 0.7 of a basis point at 3.986. The 2-month and the 3-month are both down marginally, just slightly. Okay, where are we on the oils? We talked about that a minute ago. So what we have tons of oil in this country. We have tons of productive capacity, and we have lots and lots of inventory. And so the oil business, the oil prices are now down yesterday, down again today, down $1.73 in both Texas and Brent. 71.80 in Texas, 75.45 in Brent. I think we go back down under 70. And as Nicholas Gibbs said last night, we're probably going to we might see some 6 handles eventually because there's just huge amounts of productive capacity worldwide. Natural gas down 2.63% at 2.661. Sounds that 2.661. That sounds so familiar. I feel like natural gas always ends up at 2.66. All right. Gold is easing. Easing quite a bit, actually. I mean, it's only down 940 right now, but overall, we're back down to 2,625. So we're like $100 under the all-time high, or close to $100 under that. At the rate it's going, we could be back into a 2,500 handle. We'll see what happens. Silver down a tad this morning, $30.58.5. So again, could go back under 30. Directionally, that's what we're seeing right now. Copper directionally down $4.38 right now, down 1.73%. We have got the dollar up against the yen, down against the euro in both cases. Well, up 0.62 against the yen, down 0.26 against the euro, if you're paying attention to those. Bitcoin down 273 at 61.9. Again, now back into the top end of that bottom. Anyway, never mind. Are you following Bitcoin? Let me know in the comments below. Do you care that I even give you the Bitcoin information every day? So we don't care about the pre-market. Okay, there you go. So once again, there will be 2 shows today and 2 shows tomorrow, almost certainly. We will probably not be hearing from Jeff Lutz today. We will undoubtedly, if I can find Bradford and I will be doing something tomorrow at the normal 4 o'clock California time. That's when we'll shoot the show. It'll actually, end up being published around, 4:45 or 5. And there might be an after show tomorrow night. Not sure. That'll be kind of on a whim, well, does it seem like we should do that? I mean, because remember, the show won't be over until 8:30 probably. By the time, so by the time I shoot it and publish it, you'll be looking at, 9 o'clock California time. So, is anybody going to be paying attention at 9 o'clock California time? I'm not sure. Okay. Yeah. So one last time, let's take a look over here. By the way, have you done anything with Patreon yet? This would be a good time. Go down and hit the link. And here is where we are now, $2.30. So continuing up on Tesla and continuing pretty much the rest of everything I just said is still true for this moment. By the time you look at it, it may look completely different. So after talking about cats and politics today, I think we'll let you off the hook and say adieu. Where is that off button? Yeah, right there.